Does she know Philly's gonna be late? Does Colleen know? Locked out. Good? Good evening. The time being 6:30 p.m., I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Murdoch. Here. Councilmember Patassi. Here. Councilmember Kettering.
Here.
And Mayor Barrios.
Here, please note, all four of us are here this evening. Please stand for
Mayor, can I just make one statement?
yeah.
I just wanted to announce that Councilmember Gilbert is at an important meeting that she couldn't miss. She's probably en route and should be here in a minute, so she could be just a little bit late,
Okay.
depending on how long that meeting goes. Sorry to
Okay.
interrupt.
No, you're good. Thank you. All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the junior high school female wrestlers. And then remain standing for the invocation provided by Jeff Kavanaugh of Calvary Chapel. All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. Thank you for your service. Let's pray. Father, your word tells us that you are love and you love this community, these council members, everyone in this room, and the city. So much you sent your son to die for us, and we're so grateful to you tonight. And Lord, you're also the source of wisdom. And Lord, we pray that you would give this council wisdom to make decisions in accordance with your will. And we thank you for it, knowing you want to be involved in our affairs. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, so this evening we have something very special. We're going to be recognizing Oakdale Junior High School female wrestlers for competing in the California Junior High School State Championships and making history as the first group of Oakdale girls to participate in the event. So with that, I'd like to call Coach Sandoval up to say a few words, and then council will go. Council will go down there and then we'll present the certificates to the young ladies. If you want to go ahead and lower the mic. Good evening, Coach.
Good evening. My name is Martin Sandoval. I'm the junior high wrestling coach. This is my second season. I had the pleasure of teaching wrestling to 65 kids this season, 14 of them being females. And out of the 14 females that we had, we only had 6 that wanted to challenge themselves and go on to the next step, which is to go to the first time Oakdale sending a middle school athlete to the girls' state tournament. And out of the 6 girls we had, I believe, 3 or 4 places? 3? Yeah, 3 placers. We had 2 champions and a second place.
Really awesome. So is this the first, how long has this girls' team been around in all areas?
Well,
First in Oakdale,
There's
right?
never been an actual girls program for Oakdale Wrestling. This is the first time that we've actually had the opportunity to represent Oakdale in a tournament at that caliber.
Around our area, are there other girls' teams, or is this the first?
Yes,
for-
ma'am. There's other schools that do cater to the girls. There's a really big program at Central Catholic, but yeah, this is the first time Oakdale is.
Well, that's great. I'm sure it took a lot to get this into action, and we just could not be happier for the girls and look forward to what's going to happen next year.
Yes, ma'am.
And we just want to congratulate them. So awesome job, ladies.
Yes, ma'am. All strictly female. Yes. But yeah. Just to answer your question, well, throughout the season, it was really hard to go against other schools that catered to also just the girls program. So these girls did have to go during the season against boys, and they did phenomenal. They did a great job.
Wow.
I'd like to recognize Gianna Cotton. Hannah Greener. Miley Keith. Kiria Elena Laureta. Brianne Skinner Howard. And last but not least, Kendall Stever.
Can we get them all in here for all of us to get a picture with them?
Scoot down more, scoot down, scoot down.
Adam?
Put them in the middle. Karen could definitely stand in the back.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys so much.
Proud of you guys.
Good job, girls. Way to be studs. Congratulations. Great job.
All right, Oakdale, let's give them and their coach another big round of applause. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I love it. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
Keep pushing, girls. Keep it on. Keep it up.
All right, with that, you're welcome to leave if you'd like to, and we'll give you a few minutes to do that, or you're welcome to stay the whole meeting. That's up to you. Hi, parents. Hi, kids. It's hot. Do we have air conditioning on? Can we get air? I'm like, wait.
It's on 70 right now.
Okay, so it's definitely hot. All right. All right, next item. Now's the time for public comment. Anyone wishing to provide public comment, you will have 3 minutes. Please come up to the mic and state your name. Just a reminder, this is for public comment, not public questions. Thank you. Come on up, sure. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Pretty good, thank you.
Good.
Good evening to you, Mayor and council members. My name is Kenneth Boss, and I live directly across the street from one of our beautiful neighborhood parks in Birchall Hill. And I walk around this park at least twice a day with my dog to stay active and enjoy our community. Unfortunately, what used to be a peaceful daily routine has become a hazardous obstacle course. Nearly every day, groups of up to a dozen children are riding powerful e-bikes and e-scooters at dangerously high speeds down our neighborhood streets and sidewalks. They pass pedestrians from behind with absolutely no warning. They run stop signs, ride on the wrong side of the street, and ignore all the basic traffic rules. I personally have had to jump off the sidewalk with my dog on more than one occasion to avoid being hit by one of these children. One 11-year-old child who frequently zooms past me is riding a Class 3 e-bike. This machine is capable of doing 28 miles per hour, and he misses me by inches all the time. By California laws, I understand it, you have to be at least 16 years old to operate a Class 3 bike. Yet an 11-year-old, the child that I'm speaking of, is 11 years old and driving this bike at unsafe speeds at full throttle. When I've called the police, I'm told that, technology is ahead of the law, we're doing our best. Respectfully, I disagree. The laws do exist, at least some of them, but the enforcement doesn't seem to. We've already seen the tragic consequences of this inaction in Southern California, where a 14-year-old doing a wheelie on an e-bike struck and killed a veteran at a crosswalk. The mother had been warned of her son's reckless driving and is now facing manslaughter charges and child endangerment. We cannot wait for a tragedy like that to happen here in Oakdale. It's only a matter of time until a senior, a toddler, or a family pet is severely injured or killed. We deserve to enjoy our community parks and sidewalks in peace without fear of being run down. Before I leave my house anymore, since I live across from the park, I look out the window to see if there's any bikes over there so they don't run me down. I urge the council to work with local law enforcement to strictly enforce existing age restrictions. Ban motorized e-bikes and e-scooters on pedestrian sidewalks, especially the park, because sometimes it's just a zoo over there. And hold parents accountable for putting these dangerous machines in the hands of young children. So that's about all I've got to say, so thank you for your time and attention
Thank
for
you,
this
Mr.
urgent
Boss.
matter.
Thank you, Mr. Boss. Anyone else for public comment? All right. Good evening.
Good evening, Lita Chavrin. I'm not going against what he's saying. It sounds very dangerous. I just want to bring attention that we've had pedophile problems to where we live, but I already know that's been investigated, and we haven't had any problems close to like the Conagra area because there's a lot of schools, and so there was like a lot of problem there. But my concern is that when I was monitoring that situation myself, I noticed that the kids that were on wheels were safer versus the ones that were walking. The pedophiles would like cut them off and then park, you know what I mean, like park and try to get them. So I'm just saying maybe don't take their wheels, but maybe do give tickets or something like that so that they have to go slower, because I don't want them to get kidnapped, you know. So just consider that, please.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else for public comment? Hi, Bianca.
Bianca Signorelli, I'm Gregor. And good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you for your continued service to our community. I'm here to address a recurring issue regarding public participation and transparency during our meetings. During public comment, it has become common practice for simple, factual questions to go unanswered, just like I saw one recently about the noise for at night ordinance. During public comment, so we often hear members of the council defer to the Brown Act, citing restrictions and telling staff to follow up individually. However, the Brown Act does not prohibit a brief factual response to non-agenda items. When questions about basic quality of life issues are handled offline, the rest of the public is left in the dark. I respectfully request that when simple questions are posed, the council or staff provide the answer publicly for everyone's benefit. Let's make transparency a true priority during these sessions. And would any member of the council be willing to move to agendize a standing item for such clarification in the future? And you're all gonna not answer.
Thank you, Bianca.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? All right, public comment is now closed. Next item on the agenda, City Council consent agenda. Would any council member like to pull an item to discuss? If not, this is an action item.
Motion to approve.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch. Yes. Councilmember Patassi. Yes. Councilmember Kettering.
Yes.
And Mayor Barrios.
All right, yes, this passes 5-0. Thank you, Colleen.
I know that the time to comment is over, but it wasn't clear what you guys were gonna do after. The reason we're here is trying to keep the water bill down.
Oh, we're gonna be talking about that really soon. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are
Yeah,
talking about.
that's okay. Okay, so 10.1, consider a resolution approving the water rate study. Next item on tonight's agenda, pursuant to Prop 218 regarding the water rate increase. This is the time and place for the hearing to hear public comment and consider any written proposals submitted regarding the proposed water rate increases. All protests to the rate increases must be submitted in writing and will be collected until the close of the public hearing. Staff will now provide a general presentation regarding the proposed rate increase. After that, we will open the public hearing.
All right, good evening, Mayor, members of the
evening.
council. Before you tonight is the consideration of a resolution approving a water rate increase pursuant to Proposition 218 based on the water rate study conducted by Tuckfiddle and Associates following the public hearing. So a little background, the city provides water and wastewater services for approximately 8,400 customers. To be clear tonight, this is for water rate increases only. Wastewater will be done at a different time. Annual water demand is met by groundwater sources and delivered through a distribution system consisting of pumps, stations, store tanks, and over 75 miles of pipelines. And in the last 2 council meetings, we've moved forward with well 11 and well 12. The comprehensive rate study, the last comprehensive rate study prior to this one took place in 2017 when the city engaged Tuckfield and Associates to conduct the study for a 5-year period from 2016, fiscal year 2016-17 to fiscal year 2021. There haven't been increases since the last study in July, since the last rate study, which the increase went into effect July of 2020, if I recall correctly. We held a water and wastewater workshop for a presentation to the council and the community on March 25th, 2026 at the Jean Bianchi Community Center. Key requirements for water rate increases. It cannot exceed the proportional cost of providing the water service to each parcel or customer. Revenues must be used only for water service. The agency must prepare a cost of service study to justify the rates, and that's why we contacted Tuckfield and Associates, who provided the study for us. Procedural requirements, we mailed notices to all property owners at least 45 days prior to the public hearing, which is tonight, so the mailings went on April 15th. We're holding the public hearing where property owners can submit written protests, or they could have mailed the protests in following the instructions that were submitted in the packet that we mailed to them. And if a majority of the affected parcels, 50% plus 1, submit valid written protests, rates cannot be adopted. So Clayton Tuckfield from Tuckfield Associates did the water and wastewater rate study. And like I said, we're going to redo the wastewater study after some issues are resolved. The rate study objectives the goal is to establish rates that follow industry practice and legal framework while providing sufficient revenues to the city so we can maintain our operating and maintenance and our CIP. Develop a 10-year financial plan that funds the operation and maintenance expenses, capital improvements, debt service, and coverage requirements, as well as increase reserves to target levels. And to create a schedule of water rates that is fair and equitable to ratepayers, provides stable revenue to the city, and complies with Proposition 218. Major assumptions in the study were that the city provided Clayton with the capital improvement program over the next 10 years. He assumed that inflation in expenses and capital escalators as planned, salaries and wages at 6% annually, benefits at 8%, electricity at 7%, chemicals at 3%, all others at 5%, and capital at 3.5%. He assumed a single-family residence growth rate of 0.5% annually, which is right in line with what we're at. And he assumed interest earning rate of 3.5% on our fund balances. We don't just leave our funds in the bank, we invest them so that we can receive funds upon our funds. Right now our reserve balance is about 11 million. Reserve target is 4.575 at this point, and I'm not going to go over the wastewater. And I'll show you why the reserve target is important, because over the next few years as we spend, the reserve target is going to come into line. So we have the financial plan. The black line that's staying horizontal will show our, it's without the increases, whereas the red line is with increases. And then over the blue line with the green graph shows where our target reserves are going to be after 10 years if we do an increase. So we'll be right on target for having the reserve. The reserve targets will be at a healthy level. This was our capital improvement plan that we sent to Mr. Tuckfield, and you can see it goes out 10 years. 1 year starts at 3 million, the next year is 2.5 million, third year is about 1 million, fifth year is about 1.5 million, and then nearly 2 million in the fiscal year 29-30. Water cost of service. He follows the AWWA methodology when he conducts his study. Monthly fixed charges include operation and maintenance expenses and capital costs related to meters and service lines, customers billing, collecting, and meter reading, and fire protection. And then there's a variable charge based on the amount of water that's used. And the uniform charge is based on money per 100 cubic feet for all customers. So water rates increase reasonably across the fixed and variable rates, results in about 27% of the cost recovered in fixed charges. And the first portion of the chart here, I'll concentrate on the first line because that's the majority of our customers. It's 5/8 inch through 1 inch line. The current rate for that is $15.69 to each of those. And the proposed rate would be $16.11. That's about a 42 cent increase for the fixed rate. And then if you look at the very bottom, all customers' current rate for 100 cubic feet is $2.15. And the first year it would increase to $2.24, a total of 9 cents per 100 cubic feet. And then you can see it incrementally goes up from there. It goes up 10 cents, 10 cents, 11 cents, and then 11 cents for over the next 4 years. So example of a single family residential water bill on the proposed rates for, it says a 3/4 inch meter, but this would be for the 5/8, 3/4, or 1 inch because the fixed service charge is the same at $16.11. So an average user who uses 1,500 cubic feet monthly, the current bill would be $15.69 for the hookup, and then the volume charge would be $32.25. And you can see that the service charge goes up 42 cents, and then the volume charge goes up from $32.25 to $33.60 for a dollar difference of $1.77 or 3.7%. And then, of course, the more water you use, the more it goes up incrementally. So if you have a very high user at 100 cubic feet, their increase would be $4.92 or 4%. So for a single family residential monthly water bill increase over time, so over the next 5 years, you can see the current rate, and then you can see how incrementally it goes up from the current of $47.94. Next year it'll be $49.71. Where Oakdale lies in supply of water based on other communities, we're third from the lowest, and with this increase, we would remain at third from the lowest. So the summary, the water financial plan is straightforward with a 4.4% increase, annual increase, no new debt. Wastewater rate study will be completed at a later date. The wastewater will be completed at a later date. We'll start a new Proposition 218 process, and I'll bring it back to council when that's completed. So staff recommends that the City Council pass the resolution approving the water rate increases pursuant to Proposition 218 based on the water rate study conducted by Tuckfield Associates. I will add one more thing. I believe that we received 2 protest votes over at the Finance Department. And then, of course, if we have any written protests tonight, we'll accept those too. And with that, I'll take questions from council.
A few questions. Thank you for that. So we had one public meeting at the Bianchi Center where anybody could have attended, correct? That was a very public meeting.
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure and clarify that with everyone. We haven't raised the rates since 2020, so that's 6 years.
Correct.
How many were mailed out? How many?
9,139.
And we got only 2?
Correct.
So going back to the slides, what is the average rate increase for family of whatever, 5, 3-bedroom, 2-bath? Is that the $224 per month, or what did I miss? Estimate.
We're going off average water use. I don't know. You're saying single family residence, or you're saying an amount of people. All I know is the average, because there could be 2 people that use more water than 6.
Sure.
So the average is service charge of $15.69 for the hookup. The monthly hookup would go to $16.11 for all 5/8 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch hookups.
So,
And then, since this is
so 1569 to 1611?
42 cents per hookup, per 5/8, 3/4, 1 inch hookup. And then, let me find the rates here, one moment. Okay, and then for a very low user, if they used 500 cubic feet, it would be $11.20. That's their variable rate, is the $11.20. If you get a very high user, then they would be $112.
Okay. Okay.
And that's dependent, that could be dependent on how much you water your lawn, your shrubs. if you-
Summertime, all that good stuff.
Exactly.
So, but if you can give just like a basic, and I know you can't really do that, but I pay, say, $80 a month on my water bill, what would it go to? I mean, it's not gonna go to 200. Are we looking at $90 a month? Are we looking at?
Well, if you look at the very high user of 3,000 cubic feet, it's 83. The proposed bill would be 83.31, which would be an increase of $3.12 or 3.9%.
Okay. Okay, all right, any questions from the council before I open up the public hearing? All right, the public hearing is now open. It's now time to take public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, state your first and last name for the record and state whether you are the property owner affected by the proposed rate increase. If you have a protest letter, please hand it to Colleen when you come up to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to provide your public comment. Okay. Oh, come on up. Good evening.
My name is Shelley Worsham. I live in Oakdale. And I guess I'm not allowed to ask questions, is that correct?
This is the time for public comment.
Okay, I'm commenting on, I'm looking at page 6 that was mailed to me. It has current and proposed, oh, those are wastewater rates. So we do that at a different time?
Yeah, tonight is only for the water rate.
Water rates.
When that was sent out, they were both gonna be handled, but things have changed since then.
That's correct, yeah, I postponed the wastewater rate, so, and I suspect that in a couple months I'll bring that back.
Okay, will we be notified again?
The exact same process minus the water rate increase.
Okay, so it'll be mailed out because I was not even aware of the March meeting, so.
We do share that all over social media. It's on the city website and then also goes in the Oakdale Leader.
Next time, can we do mailers to notify people if,
Yep.
it goes into the water bill like these ones? Can we notify that way too, since people, not everybody gets their information from social media?
Yep, I'm not on social media
Well,
and I
go-
don't get the
Go
Oakdale.
ahead and finish your
Leader.
public comment, and then I'll answer
Sorry.
his question.
Okay. That was my one comment then.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So to answer your question, we can put a little blurb, but to have the entire packet in there would be very cost prohibitive.
Gotcha.
Thank you. All right. Good evening, Kathleen. Hi.
Kathleen Westenberg, I'm a Oakdale resident. I just have a question. Can you go back to the first screen about assessments, rate assessments?
I can go back to the first screen,
I
but
think
again,
that one.
questions. This is public comment. So which screen? Tell me when to stop.
That's not it. Okay. Right, back. Thank you. I'm just concerned about major assumptions. You've given us this explanation about salaries and wages, 6%, benefits 8, electricity 7, chemicals 3, all other 5, capital 3.5. Are you saying that that will affect, these are assumptions, is that going to affect the rates on the water rates that you have just shown us, or is that going to stay that way, what you have provided to the public?
This is for public comment, and furthermore, I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
Well, I'm just wondering if what you're showing, because this bothers me about major assumptions. This sounds like something can vary. Is there anything in what you've just on this proposal will change from what you're currently showing us? That's what I'm asking. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else for public comment?
Bianca Signorelli, and I just don't know if I heard you right, Mr. Ramar, when you stated it would be not financially feasible for the city to notify us in our mailer about the meeting that none of us knew about because it was already posted on Facebook and all that.
Yeah, you misunderstood what I said then.
Okay. So we could expect that a little more notification.
All right. Any other questions? Public comment is now closed. So Colleen, can you, would anybody submit their protest this evening?
I only have the 2 that were sent to the city, so if anybody has any other protests to submit, this would be the time to do so before the mayor closes the public hearing officially.
There's someone actually coming right now who has their written statement. They already come, sorry. They just left to go get it. So someone is coming in less than 3 minutes. So, sorry.
Public comment has closed, sir. Are they submitting a protest?
Yeah.
Oh, they're submitting a protest, okay. And they just hand that to you, Colleen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So there's no other protests to be submitted?
No, thank you.
We don't have it on paper, sorry. We thought they would be here or there'd be a list we could just sign. But for record, yeah, we don't want to raise it because it just keeps going up. Inflation's real, so it's like, it just makes it worse for everybody.
So we're good with that?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and officially
Continue.
close the public hearing, and then I'll announce the results.
Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Will the city clerk provide the final protest count of affected property owners?
All right, Mayor and City Council, the city sent out 9,139 ballots, and a total of 2 protests were received. So a majority protest was not achieved for this water rate increase.
Okay, the city clerk has determined that a majority protest does not exist. The city council may now consider the proposed water rate increase, water rate adjustments. I'll now bring this back to council for discussion. Would a council member like to discuss this or make a motion?
I will motion to approve, if only we will make sure that in the mailers for the next meeting, that it goes out in the mailers.
So we can put a blurb in the water bill that there's gonna be
A community
something
meeting.
coming for the wastewater, but I don't think it's feasible to get, it would be very difficult and time consuming to make sure that we get it out to all the homeowners and renters. So we can put something in the water bill saying, look for this coming in the mail, but they all have to go at the same time. They have to follow a certain process, and that process is not in conjunction with our water bills that go out.
So,
So it's two separate processes. We have a company that takes care of our mailing and our billing for us for water and wastewater, and then we have to do a different process for Prop 218 notification, and we can't get the two. It would be nearly impossible to get the two to combine.
so to confirm, in the mailer, you're gonna send, in the water bill, you're gonna send a blurb. Hey, we're gonna have a meeting, or this is gonna happen on such and such date.
Yes,
Is that correct?
that's correct.
Everyone that receives the water bill, 9,139 people will get that?
No, not necessarily. All the water bills will have that blurb. And then as far as the Prop 218 process, anybody that is a property owner or renter will then get the Prop 218 process.
Okay, and then we will also continue to post on social media and in the Oakdale Leader like we always have.
Exactly.
And also on the city website, so anybody can go to a computer, phone, iPad, whatever, library, look up what's going on in the city, on the City of Oakdale website, and see that we have a special meeting on X date, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay,
Motion to approve.
Second.
we have a first and a second roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilmember Kettering,
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes.
Councilmember Patassi,
I think with the houses that are being built, the retail that's coming, dining that's coming, I think it's fair to say with how robust the water budget is, it would be fair to kind of hold off for at least 3 years to see what kind of revenue those things are going to bring into the city, especially because everything's going up right now. Expenses for groceries, fuel, water, all the potential things that could go up aside from that. So I'm gonna vote no.
I'm gonna vote yes, and the reason is this: we all pay for the up rate. We have to pay it. It's not just for everybody else. And I think you said $3 more a month around that area, around that.
Yes.
For a lot of people, $3 more a month. I definitely don't want to pay more. I don't want my neighbors, I don't want my parents or my families or you guys to pay more. However, we're paying more for our people to work for us and work with us. We're paying more for everything that we do, a cup of coffee's more, milk's more, gas more. So I will vote yes, but I, as well with you guys, do not like paying more. So that passes 4-1. Thank you. Next item, 11.1. Introduction and waive the first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 19 of the Oakdale Municipal Code, adding Section 19.67 related to unsafe operation of bicycles and motorized devices. After we have the presentation by staff, we will open the public hearing once again.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, excellent, thank you. So tonight, I will be talking about the introduction and waive the first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 19, miscellaneous Article 4, coasting devices of the Oakdale Municipal Code. And we're just going to be adding a little different, bad feedback right here. We're going to be adding some different language to address some of the e-bikes and other riding behavior. Do you want me to go up there? All right. So just a little background. The City of Oakdale has experienced an increase in complaints and safety concerns related to the operation of bicycles, electric bikes, also known as e-bikes, and other motorized devices within public parks, trails, sidewalks, and streets. These concerns include excessive speed, failure to yield to pedestrians, unsafe riding behaviors, and damage to city property. A little bit of background. Currently, the Oakdale Municipal Code does not specifically address unsafe operation of bicycles and motorized devices in a comprehensive manner that reflects the growing use of e-bikes and similar devices. Recently, incidents, community feedback have highlighted the need for clear regulations and enforcement tools to address safe conduct. The proposed Municipal Code Section 19.67 establishes definitions, identifies prohibited conduct, and provides enforcement authority, which includes seizure and administrative impound of devices used in a manner that endangers public safety. The proposed ordinance is intended to address unsafe behavior rather than prohibit lawful use of bicycles and e-bikes. The ordinance focuses on regulating conduct that demonstrates willful or wanton disregard for the safety of persons or property. Key provisions of the ordinance include defining of bicycles, e-bikes, and motorized devices consistent with the California Vehicle Code, prohibiting unsafe operation, including excessive speed, failure to yield, stunt riding in public park or trail, sidewalk, or streets, establishing authority for law enforcement to seize and impound devices used in violation of this ordinance, providing for administrative due process, including post-seizure hearings, and allowing recovery of administrative and storage costs. Oops, far there. The ordinance is modeled after similar policies adopted by neighboring jurisdictions and aligns with current public safety concerns related to e-bike usage. Some pros: enhances public safety in parks, trails, and roadways, provides clear enforcement authority for officers, addresses emerging issues related to e-bike usage, protects city property from damage, includes due process protections. A couple of cons: it requires staff time for enforcement and its administrative hearings, and it may require some public education and outreach for compliance. This ordinance is consistent with the Oakdale Police Department's goal of maintaining safe public spaces and protecting community members. Fiscal impact: we don't see any immediate fiscal impact for adoption with this ordinance. And for recommendation, staff recommends the City Council to adopt a resolution adopting Municipal Code Section 19.67 related to unsafe operation of e-bikes and motorized devices. Questions?
Thank you. Chief? So a few questions. Is this going to, I listened to Mr. Boss here tonight, and I live in that area as well, and we can all, sitting here in council and in the crowd and at home, can say that this has affected our community in a big way, all over town. Is this gonna be something that you guys are gonna police throughout the community, just on roads, in the parks? And are we gonna have to bring in new officers or focus on certain areas at certain times with this? I mean, this is all kind of unknown, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
this
that,
is-
no, I can give you answers on that.
Yeah.
No, that's a great question. Currently, we're doing this now.
Yes.
What this does is, no, to answer your question first, no. We're not increasing staffing. Our staffing's the same. We do have grants through, God, sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. We do have grants that addresses safety, but not just bicycles. It's not specifically targeted that. So when we, thank you, when we work these grants, they're very specific on what we have to do. Some of them have to do with cell phones, distracted driving, but there are provisions in there for bicycle safety. There's provisions in there for pedestrian safety. So we can model and tweak our enforcement efforts to match the needs of this as well. And we're doing that now. We have officers working overtime weekly that's paid by the state addressing these issues. We've towed, or stored, I should say, written citations already weekly in regards to e-bikes. There was an article or a blurb in social media just last week where we stopped a bunch of bicycles and issued a couple citations and education efforts. We don't always write tickets. We don't always store vehicles. We try to educate. Each situation's different. So will this ordinance change the way we do things? It just gives us more tools in our toolbox. This will help us, we can impound bikes now for targeting for the reason of how they're driving, not necessarily just driving down the street, but if they're riding them on the sidewalk, like the gentleman was saying, and swerving into pedestrians, swerving into vehicles, this allows us to take it for 30 days. I mean, that's a pretty harsh penalty to take somebody's bicycle or transportation away for riding like an idiot or riding like a jerk. And those are things that we don't want to happen here in the city. Part of what this ordinance does also, it doesn't just, I wanted to address multiple targets when I kind of drew this up. And I wanted to address, the street takeovers of the bicycles. And luckily we don't have that here in Oakdale, but what if we did? What if it does come soon? So this addresses that. The stunt riding is that language that's in there. So we can take bikes now for 30 days. And I think that will keep those events from happening in the city by having this ordinance.
So do you think the city can put on, it's called a bicycle rodeo. We're gonna be putting it on October 10th with a couple nonprofits here in Oakdale. It's called Bicycle Rodeo, and it teaches the kids the safety of the roads and giving away some bikes and some helmets. Is that something the city can look into, putting on here in the community, maybe work with Oakdale Bicycle Shop and the police department and maybe even surrounding areas to have something like that
Absolutely.
this summer so that the kids, while they're out of school, can sign up for that or show up?
You give us a date and time, we'll be there. We'd love to do things like that. That's great
Okay.
community outreach for us. I think we're doing something July 11th. I think it's with, the Lions Club. We're doing a bicycle booth inside of there, and we're gonna do some education outreach and have our explorers there. So we're doing that now, and the
Okay.
more opportunities that we can
Okay, so
get out
let's
there.
connect tomorrow and I'll get you and with the other guy that does the actual,
Yep.
it's called bicycle rodeo, but it's bicycle
Yep,
safety.
and you know,
Cool.
the other thing I just want to make everybody aware though, that this isn't banning the use of e-bikes. And you know, I don't want to take, because e-bikes there's a big need for, you know, people to be out and not in their houses on their computers and phones. And it's just, we want people to ride safely and go by the rules of the road. And e-motorcycles, unless they're registered, licensed, there's no business for them to be on the streets. It's just like a regular motorcycle. So this ordinance addresses those as well. And what the gentleman's probably talking to are the e-motorcycles. Those are the ones that go over 28 miles an hour. And there's no business a kid under 16 riding those on the street unless they're licensed, registration, insurance, just like a normal vehicle.
Okay.
And
All
you
right.
also,
Go ahead.
you also have, I mean, we spoke about it, you guys are going into the schools and talking to the kids before.
We have all
school
year.
starts.
You know, Officer DeGerno, our SRO, has gone to every school in the district. We've worked with them on education of bicycles. E-bikes, they're not new. They've been around for a couple of years now. It's just they're getting more popular. And, you know, and they're very inexpensive. I mean, the e-motorcycles are cheap compared to real motorcycles, with a gas engine. And so it's easy for people to get, and I think parents are very misunderstood in regards to the laws. And they are a vehicle that needs to be licensed, registered, insured. And there's no business for a kid, like you said, that's 11 years old riding those. There's no business.
Yeah.
They go too fast.
Well, I brought it up before, I talked to you about it, talked to Jeff, Jerry about it. These bikes exist, they're not going away, no matter how much you impound them or whatever, they're gonna stay. So we need to provide somewhere for the kids to go ride them. We've got a skate park, we've got other parks, we need a dirt park where these e-bikes, e-motorcycles can be ridden. And I think if we, you know, if we're gonna hold them accountable and they have nowhere to go except riding around town through the basin parks and stuff like that, you're just gonna be chasing them around. They're gonna get better at running, gonna get better at hiding, potentially. But if they have a place to go and say, okay, you're headed to the dirt park or the e-bike park or whatever you wanna call it, hey, but you chose to go jerk around in town and be a menace, now you're getting impounded, now you got more severe issues, but you have a place to do it, so that's where you should be hanging out, doing your thing on your bikes, just like skateboarders, you know, because I remember when I was younger, in town, we didn't have a skate park, and we had all those stinking metal angle irons on every piece of sidewalk and whatever people would sit on until we gave them a skate park. You know, and I know it's a cost, I know I've looked into the research and stuff like that of, you know, there are grants, the state's hot to give out grants for things like this for kids and parks and whatnot, so I think it's a bigger conversation, and this is the start of it, and to get a handle on it. So, appreciate what you guys are doing out there. So.
We're trying, you know, we definitely have to, you know, go by priorities. I don't want to say this is an important item. It definitely is. But there, you know, when it comes to protecting lives of, 911 calls, and, you know, there's things that take precedence. And, you know, I always tell people when things are happening, you got to call us. And I hope that we have an officer available to address it. But we do have priorities that we have to, attend to first. And people's, you know, lives and, you know, are always more pressing than e-bikes that are driving around town. And I get, you know, what the gentleman was saying is that, well, it could happen. Anything could happen, but we still have to go by what's more of a priority. But if we have officers available, absolutely, we're going out there. And then, you know, one of my number one complaints has to do with, you know, e-bikes and safety of the vehicles and traffic in the city. So this is definitely a priority. I don't want to discount that, so.
Yeah, thank you.
I think a dirt bike track or a bicycle track would be absolutely awesome in Oakdale. I know when we talked about the skate park, I didn't think we had enough skaters in Oakdale. And then When I talked to Brian Whitmire about it, I don't think he thought that either. However, they got the grant, and then we realized that we do have a lot of skaters, roller skaters, skateboarders, whatever, so that's nice.
Scooters came too.
Yeah, they do, but the fact would mean, we waited, how many years did it take us to get that? 3 years, at least? And we had so many public meetings and working with the kids that actually skateboard. So if there's something in a grant process, or we had first of all, a piece of land that somebody would donate, that the grant could work for that model, motorcycles, dirt bike, whatever, these e-bikes, the city would look into that, correct? And I don't believe there's any at this point, or have you looked into it, or?
No, the city owns quite a bit of land that could be
Yeah.
looked at for this. that we
Yeah,
already have.
but I mean, as far as a grant, is there a scope there that,
I am
we would have-
actively looking for
Yeah.
grants,
Yeah.
you know, just because I know it'll help benefit my department, which will
Yeah.
in turn benefit the
Yeah.
city, and I have not seen one about building any type of
Yeah.
parks or anything. I'm looking more for law enforcement things and safety, so I'm
Right.
not specifically looking at, you know, parks and that type of stuff,
Yeah.
but I have yet to seen anything, at least through, you know, my resources in regards to that.
But if you
There
did, you
are
would bring it
off-road
to us.
parks within our county, there's actually a few of them
yeah?
that
Manteca,
maybe we need to
Lathrop,
put those out there.
Turlock, Manteca, yeah, they've all got.
At least for the short term, because yes, if there's somewhere to go, I think that would help a lot. Because it will probably take some time to put something together if that's the direction that the council goes.
Well, and those are bigger communities too, that have a lot of, you know, money for that. But anyway, yeah, just keep looking into that. I know there was one across town, but that wasn't an actual park, right? Anyway,
Right.
on the east side of town,
Probably referring to Honda Hills.
something like that,
There's houses there now.
something like, yeah, there's no
Man,
homes
these
there.
houses.
So
no
I've
homes.
looked for, this was brought up a while ago, I've looked for grants and we haven't been able to find any yet, so we'll keep
Thank
looking.
you, just let us know.
Chief, okay, so let's say that I'm popping a wheelie on my e-bike on Gregor. What is the process of giving me a ticket or impounding the bike and the process of getting it out for the parent? So that way, we're being transparent right now during our meeting.
Sure. No, it's, you know, riding on one wheel, this Muni Code would consider that a stunt, and it could fall under this provision. Again, this is a tool that allows the officer to make that choice, and he or she may lecture and release, may issue a ticket, and it all depends on circumstances, right? Are you riding in a group that are blocking traffic? Are you by yourself dodging into cars and swerving out and going up on sidewalks? To me, your behavior would warrant perfect for this section. Also, I think it would set a great example of taking your bike for 30 days, which allows. Right now, we don't have that provision. Can we stretch it to some type of unsafe riding? Right now, with the current vehicle code, maybe. We would probably lose it in court, because I don't think it would. But this would 100% now, if it is approved, we would at least have a Muni Code violation on it, and take the bike for 30 days as a penalty, and then you would get it back if you don't do a hearing.
No.
Sorry.
One, sorry.
If you impound the bike, do the parents have to go to traffic school in order to get the bike back?
So the bike back from impound is handled through our agency. That wouldn't really be done through traffic court. By the time you get your traffic date, the 30 days would be up. So I believe you have 48 hours to have a hearing for the impound, and it's usually with one of our sergeants or a lieutenant, and it's really quick. It's a face-to-face process, and basically it's, you know, ran kind of like a court. Tell us why you think we should give it back, and we'll tell you what happened. We'll probably show you the body-worn camera. We'll, you know, of what the officer, whether the officer captured it on the camera or not. But at least we can show, you know, was the child cooperating? Did the child run? You know, there's a lot of factors that could, every case has a different reason why it was towed. Was the child respectful or not? And I say towed, meaning stored and impounded, but then that officer would make the decision, should they get the bike back or not? And remember, it's a 30-day, so it's not like it's forever.
So if a
Child traffic court, that was the second part. That would be done by the juvenile traffic court. So we don't
And-
make that decision.
And based on personal experience, I know that the parent does have to go with the child, or that at least they used to have to. If the child is issued a citation, the parent does have to go to traffic court with them.
So just so everybody's aware, this is on the agenda tonight because we have gotten many, 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 many complaints, correct? Many complaints.
Probably
I
my
think
number one right now.
Number one right now. So I'll be right with you. Anyway, so that's why this is on the agenda. A month is a long time for a kid that has a bicycle impounded. However, depending on what the issue is, like you've just explained, I could see that. I think it would be nice to have, like you've been doing with the schools, an information thing. The parents, the grandparents, whoever, cousin, aunt, uncle, can attend. You can have, say, 3 of these. Hey, we've just approved this. If we approve it, we're gonna give out some information, and here's gonna be the rules. And let the parents know so the parents can say, hey, little Johnny, this is what you're gonna do. And if you're not, you're gonna be without a bike for 30 days. And you're on your own. You're hoofing it. And I really think, I know it's gonna take you some more time, and you guys do already spend a lot of time, but I'd like to see that, especially since school's out now. I'd like to see that, you know, like an 8 in the morning, a 10 in the morning, and then like a 5 or 6 at night, whatever, different times of the day. So then parents and kids have the opportunity to go together. And you've had this, you shared it all over social media, you shared it with the Oakdale Leader, and put that out there. Like I said, I know it'll take a little bit of time, but I think to keep the parents and the kids involved, because it's nice to see them ride through town and, you know, be kids, but also we want them to be safe, because one, like this gentleman said right here, I mean, inches away from him, and living in that area, I do see it, and I do see it all over town, and some of the kids are really, really good out there, and some of the adults are really, really bad out there. So I think giving the kids the benefit of the doubt and including the parents, having that, I would like to see that.
Chief, so if someone is a repeat offender and you've already towed the bike, and let's say they are now running away from you, are police officers going to be chasing down the kids on the bike in the vehicle, or what's the process for
I
that?
discourage that. I don't, you know, as much as people say, no, chase them, I think we would be creating more of a hazard, and I don't want to, I'm not gonna ban that. I'm not gonna say to the officers, I'm gonna let them have that discretion, but they know my stance on pursuits. And I consider this would be a pursuit, even though it's a bicycle. But some of these bicycles and e-motorcycles go as fast as cars, if not faster. So we've actually had that scenario happen, was it just last weekend? I think it was an e-motorcycle. We didn't chase it. I'm not saying we won't chase it, but I don't want to create more of an exigency than chasing an infraction. And I'm not going to put somebody's life at risk for that. So, and my officers know my stance on that, so. But again, I'm not saying that can't happen either, because it's different. Did they just rob a convenience store with a gun and they jump on an e-bike? Different story, right? Different scenario. So if it's just an e-bike of you don't know if they're kids or not, because most of them are wearing helmets. They really are. And so you don't know. So if it's, you know, we just had a robbery with a weapon and you jump on an e-bike and go, I'm not going to say not chase that, because now we're talking something more serious.
These are all hypothetical for me, but thank you for answering my questions.
Welcome.
Maybe an opportunity too, where there's a lot of visibility, is if you contacted Lisa at the morning market and having a booth for the cops with the e-bike, and a lot of parents go to that, and the kids are in.
We have several dates that we're going to be at the morning market.
Nice.
Already scheduled.
Cool.
Just a couple things. I can completely relate to Mr. Voss, except I'm in Bridal Ridge. And I walk my dog, probably think I'm averaging about 14,000 steps a day, walking my dog 3 times a day, all throughout Bridal Ridge, the walking parks, by the Gregor Sports Park where I live by there. I've been cussed at, I've been hit. I've had to move me and my 95-pound dog very quick so we wouldn't be hit on the sidewalks. This is probably the most common complaint / concern / email, text, phone call conversation I've had over the past 4 months with people living in Oakdale. I know a lot of these kids because of my sports photography business. I've photographed a lot of these kids in youth sports. Just today's Monday, Saturday night, I had 15 of them on the bike path or the walking path in Bridal Ridge talking to them. And what I see is like every group that we know of in society. There's about 5 or 6 really bad ones that are making everybody else look bad. The group that I was talking to, they're a great group of kids. I love seeing them outside and not sitting in front of a screen. So just last night, when you talk about officer discretion, I'm probably talking too long, but okay. I was walking back through the Gregor Sports Park, and there was an OPD unit there talking to some kids. And after everything got done, I asked him what was going on. It was a kid with and I get all the classes wrong. What's the motorcycle one? Is that class 3?
Motorcycle didn't even in a class.
Okay, so this was a class 3. The kid shouldn't have been driving it. That's the way it was explained to me.
Right, it's the, I think it goes 28 miles an hour. I think it's the speed limit
They
on
called
it.
the parents. Parents were non-English speaking. The officer got an interpreter to be able to talk to the parents. Throughout the story, what it sounds like, the kid was untruthful to his parents, shocking, about what was required for this bike. And the officer allowed the parent to come down and pick up the bike instead of impounding it, incurring the cost and that kind of stuff. Because from what I saw, the kid was very compliant. Parents were upset. And I think that kid would have rather been arrested than go home. And that's how I was as a kid. So he did an amazing job, sat and talked to him for quite a while. And I see it. I see the concern. I have a neighbor who has a dash cam who sends me videos every 2 or 3 days of almost hitting somebody on an e-bike. We see it all over. We're seeing it probably 6 months after a lot of our larger cities are seeing it. I mean, the story was talked about the parent charged with manslaughter. I've read about 3 e-bike deaths in California in the past 6 months. I don't want an Oakdale kid. I don't want an Oakdale kid dying. And on the topic that Jared and I have talked about, I'm not a huge fan of the government incurring the liability, the property, that kind of stuff. I'd love to see a private individual set up a park. There's a motorcycle one going out in Hickman that a person is using his property to allow motorcycles to do it. He's going to also build one in Reno. I'd like to see some entrepreneur set up something specifically for e-bikes. The liability for this, the cost, the grants, if the grants are there, that's fine. But I think that teaching kids the responsibility, 99% of them are responsible. It's the 1% that we're doing this for. And I appreciate the chief putting in the time for this. I've seen OTS grants in the past. They're very specific. But I can only imagine with everything going on in California, with e-bike issues, OTS is going to get on board and through the state issue grants to local law enforcement to police more of the e-bike issues. So
Yeah, you're probably right. The grants usually, I believe, run from October to October, and we're applying for next year's as we speak, and well, starting October 26th. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's going to be a whole line item now for e-bikes in there. Wouldn't be surprised, because it's every community, it's not just ours.
Okay.
So Chief, can I have a minute?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So this is a great step, and I think as a council, we want to enable you, give you all the teeth you can. The more the better. And I think this audience is probably on board with the same thing. But I think it's naive of us to think, you said that this would be a zero fiscal change to the city. Well, you've got this much staff right now, and we're asking you to do more. Go after these guys, take their bikes. We're asking you to do more. So you either have to reorganize and reprioritize and use the same staff that you have right now and include this, or we have to say, I think we have to expand this budget. We have to hire more. We have to do more. And we're absolutely being naive if we don't think this is going to cost more money. We need to fund this, and we need to add more help to go after this problem, or this problem is swept under the rug, and I don't think any of us have any intention for that. But this, as I read it, doesn't define a bike or a motorcycle or whatever it is going down the road. You were careful to stay away from that because we already know that, and that's okay. What you defined was how we act, what we can do on the bike. And that's what's, I think, such a great step. You're defining what you can do on the bike, not what's a bike or who can ride a bike. You're defining who can do what on, how we act on a bike.
And that talks to the, you said the 10% or whatever the percent, that's the ones we want to go after. We don't want to go after the kids that are doing what we ask them. Wearing their helmets, stopping at the stop signs, staying on the right side of the road, staying off the sidewalks, stop riding like a jerk. We
But
want to go
we're-
after the
we're in
ones that
denial.
are, and what's crazy is we have people that call, hey, we got 5 kids that are driving down, you know, X street, you name it. And it's like, well, what are they doing? Right? I mean, if they're just riding down the street,
Yeah.
minding their own business, I mean, we'll take that call. If we have officers available, we'll go check it out and watch their behavior, because we got to observe the behavior. But that's what we're addressing, is the behavior, absolutely.
But I think we're in denial if we say, oh, we've got enough police force to go, to add this to what we're already doing, unless you prioritize and say, okay, guys, this comes before this, which you can do, and, you know, if anybody can do it, you can do it. But I just don't think that we can, that's not real. We need to expand our abilities, and to say zero fiscal change doesn't seem real to me. This is a great step, though. I'm happy to support that. Also, I think what was absent in what was written was the connection between parents and the liability that parents have when they let their kids out of the house on an e-bike or whatever they're on. Kids have a parents have a responsibility that I don't think we've yet defined. And so that might be another step that we think about in
You know, we could, if, you know, through the investigation, there is, you know, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, it's a misdemeanor. And if an officer can prove that the parent knew and negligently allowed their child to continue to do it, repeat offenses, I think Councilmember Gilbert brought that one up. If we can prove to those elements of that crime, it would be, we can go for that. I believe there is also a vehicle code that deals with allowing a minor to, I'm gonna have to research it, but I actually just, before coming to this meeting, I saw a little thing on my phone in regards to that, so I'm gonna have to do a little research on that one. There's so many vehicle codes, so.
You cannot knowingly, as a parent, allow your child to drive a vehicle. There is a vehicle code that
thought it was
the
like
parent
20
can be cited for that.
Or in the 2400s or something, I saw that. So there's also that as well. So there are codes in place, but you're correct, not anything to do with our municipal code.
Okay.
It feels like we should add that when we can. Not that we have to do it tonight, but that's something that needs to be talked about, and I think we're okay not having to define, it's kind of like CCs or how many watts or whatever it is on a bike. We don't need to worry about that. It's how you act when you're
Behavior.
on a bike that we're focused on. And
Just
thank you for all your help.
One more thing really quick, and it kind of addresses Councilmember Murdoch, is I believe once the Office of Traffic Safety is starting to put out their new grants, they're going to have grants for officers' time and overtime. I mean, we've seen it for 30 years, for DUIs, for seatbelts, for cell phones, for that kind of stuff. Now the flavor of the year is e-bikes in California. We're seeing it all over the news. And so the Office of Traffic Safety is usually about a year behind on what they want to do. And I think you're going to see it could potentially be for a 3 or 4 year period of time. It provides the salary for an officer to be able to do the enforcement, or provides X number of hours of overtime. And if my memory is correct, this doesn't talk about defining the different class levels, because the vehicle code defines what the different class levels are for the bicycles, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I think there's a one sentence language that just says, we will follow what the vehicle code says in regards to definition of a bicycle. So that way, we don't contradict each other.
And the last question that I asked, I'm so sorry, Sharon.
No, you're good.
Is that one part of the ordinance, I don't know who's gonna bring it up, was, it talks about no person shall operate a motorized device in any area of a park. Well, my concern is there's areas of, parks in Birchall Hill, there's areas of parks in Gregor Sports Park, where it is okay, to ride. There's the big sidewalk going from Branding Iron to the pickleball courts, that I believe, you know, that's how they get from point A to point B. And so I'd like to see, and there is a recommendation from my understanding of a change to that, just to make it more clear to the officer.
How about if we, instead of a period after park, we do a comma, and it says, except where all other motorized vehicles are allowed to operate.
I like that language.
So that way it doesn't get, there's no confusion, and what we're addressing is motorized vehicles, not bicycles, right? With pedals, no motor. no electric, no gas. It's just, all this is addressing are is motorized vehicles or devices.
I appreciate that change, thank you.
Okay. Are we okay just to add that little blurb and then,
Yeah, when they make the motion, they add that.
okay?
So no
Chief,
motorized
sorry.
vehicles in the park?
So
That's what you said?
the
Correct.
bikes do have motors though, so that is kind of contradicting to me. If Jeff is saying to allow them on the sidewalks where they're wider, but then we're gonna put no motor. Am I the only one that is confused by this? My apologies.
What this number, it's number 4 is what we're talking about under prohibited conduct. And it says, no person shall operate a motorized device. And so a definition of a motorized device is a device powered by a motor, including but not limited to electric bicycles, motorized scooters, mini bikes, and similar devices. So anything that's powered not by human. So it would have to have some type of electric, gas device. And what I think what the meaning of this is addresses not just bicycles with a motor, but scooters, the little, you stand on the board. So it covers all of those type of devices. And so what this ordinance will say is no person shall operate a motorized device in any area of the park except the areas where other motorized vehicles are allowed to operate. So if we're already saying a car, let's say, can drive into a parking lot at Kerr Park, you can still drive a e-bicycle on that area. But if you're going into the park where cars are not allowed to go in, you can't bring an e-bike through there either.
Okay, so the bigger sidewalks that Jeff is referring to, the cars are not allowed to go on those sidewalks at all.
So no e-bikes.
So the phrase that you just added does not fix Jeff's.
And that was that sidewalk was a bad example, I was looking at more of right around the pickleball courts where they park their bicycles.
Okay,
Because the e-motorcycles qualify as a motor vehicle, because they don't have pedals.
I'm a very specific person, I think you can tell. Thank you.
No, clarification is good. We need that.
Okay.
I think people refer to the e-motorcycles the same as e-bikes, so that if you want to.
Completely different. I don't even, when I hear e-bikes, that's not, my mind isn't thinking there. Because those things go 50 plus miles an hour.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. It is now time to take public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, state your name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to provide your comment. I knew you were waiting to do that. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Shelley Worsham. And one thing that I haven't heard you guys address yet is riding at night. I see tons of kids riding all these e-bike scooters at night and with no lights, none. Maybe one in a group of 5 will have one little light on the back. Maybe one will have a little tiny light in the front. And I'll tell you, they'll just pull out right in front of you. And if all 4 or 5 of them pull out, it's like, and I don't know what kids you guys are looking at, but maybe 5% of the kids that I see on these electronic vehicles or bikes only 5% have helmets. Only 5%. The rest of them, no. But I haven't heard anybody address the driving or riding them at night, and that's, and I drive slow, and I don't know what people would do if they were going fast. They'd hit the whole bunch. So.
Thank you. All right, anyone else for public comment? Good evening, thank you for your patience. Come on. Come on up.
Michael Garrett, Oakdale. And by the way, hoofing it is fitting for this town.
You got it,
Anyway.
thank you for that.
I'm always trying to think of ways to save money. Now, we already have the skate park. I thought that was great. I saw that, and I said, man, if my kids were only young again, but I don't wanna go there. What, I know the park wasn't designed for these e-bikes, but what if you make a certain time that these e-bikes could go in there and use that park? I don't know about the liabilities for the insurance because it wasn't designed for the e-bikes. And then the safety equipment. I'm here in Oakdale. There was a young man wearing sandals, no shirt, pair of shorts, and pulling wheelies. And I said, you know, no. I told him, if you come off that bike, the road rash is going to be severe. And it seems like the parents aren't being taught now. My kids could not rollerblade or skateboard without the knee pads, the elbow pads, the helmet, only because I didn't like going to the hospital for them.
Yeah.
It's another thing for me. But
Yeah.
anyway, and then as far as the enforcement, I think these e-bikes should have a color-coded tag if they're 28 miles an hour or under, or this way, it's a no-brainer for anybody who's trying to patrol. Because you can't tell from looking at it if it's a 50-mile-an-hour unit. But, you know, we just want the kids to be safe and
Yeah.
grow up and be happy and healthy here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Anyone else for public comment? Come on up, Mr. Boss.
Thank
You can be next.
Kenneth Boss again. This gentleman was correct. The group that I'm talking about has 2 or 3 gang leaders. Basically, they've turned into a gang. And they've been harassing me because I'm trying to keep them from hitting me. And so now I'm the bad guy on the block. And it's due to these 2 kids. They had about 12 kids harassing me and her from across the street. And I got them on video. They sent one of the kids over as a dare to go pound on my door, you know, because they're mad at me because I'm trying to get them to slow down. I don't want to get hit. And I did some research, and an e-motorcycle, from what I read, has pegs, no pedals. And there's this one 11-year-old kid that was going by my house, blowing through the stop sign to go up a hill across the street. And I asked the 2 boys, and I talked to them nicely, and I says, how fast does your bike go? And he says, oh, mine does 28. I asked the other kid, how fast does yours go? 58. What parent in their right mind would buy their 11-year-old kid a 58-mile-an-hour motorcycle? It's the parents. That's the problem. The parents are not going out and seeing what their children are doing. And that's what they need to do. And I hope they get the message with what you want to do. I really hope you follow through with that and it passes, because I think it'll only take 1 or 2 e-bikes to be confiscated and the word will pass. Hey, we better cool it or we're going to lose our bikes. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boss. All right, next, come on up.
Brady Anderson, live up in Bridle Ridge. Chief, I commend you for this. My daughter was actually on an e-bike last week and was swerved at by a car. Came bailing off. She's road rashed from her neck all the way down. So, unfortunate, because drivers are just as bad as the e-bikes. And I think they're frustrated. A couple suggestions I have. I live on Mustang, right at the corner, or right at the turn, right off of Greger, about probably 300 yards. So I get all the stops in front of my house after they catch them off of Greger. So we've had 3 cops pull kids over right in front of my house. They're always cocked out in the middle of the street. As you know, the streets aren't very wide, so they're blocking traffic. I understand they have a job to do, but they've had 2 bikes so far impounded on my street, which I'm grateful for. So one suggestion is pulling off into a safe spot. Grateful that the parents have come every time. But my big suggestion tonight is just that, you know, when the CHP, they post when they're going to be doing DUI checks throughout the county. And I think we should be doing the same thing. I think we do have extra patrol cars. I think we should post that, hey, cops are going to be placing a car out here on these dates, and then they'll be patrolling this area. I think Birchall and Bridle Ridge are probably some of the probably more affluent areas that have more bikes. I go into other areas and I don't see as many bikes as those areas. And so I'd love to see maybe a parked car and then follow up with, you know, just a little more patrol in those areas, just to, because I don't think you're gonna get people to come to all the meetings. They're not gonna come, the parents that are buying these bikes, they're probably helping the kid pay for this stinking expensive bike. So they're probably working more and they're not gonna come to one of these meetings. So I think just more public, just letting people know that we're gonna be patrolling these areas. And so it just brings more awareness to the parents that in the next couple weeks, their kids are gonna get pulled over more. I think that changes behavior versus just this threat of they're gonna potentially try to get away. Cause I hear my kid, she's 15, I've got a 13-year-old, I've got a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old. They're talking with all their friends and they are trying to get away. It's just the fact that that's what our kids are gonna do, because there are 20 different streets they can get down if someone hears that they're gonna come after them. So my, I guess, recommendation is just proactively putting maybe a car out there. Just like when I see a cop car, I slow down, right? Whether it's manned or not, I slow down. And my kids are gonna act the same way. I think all of our kids are gonna act the same way. So maybe putting something out there, putting public notice that, hey, we're gonna patrol this area, we're gonna be focused on just Bridle Ridge, something like that. So,
Thank you. So more awareness with OPD, which I know you guys do a great job with that, so, and we'll share that all over.
Yep, we will
And
do
then
it.
Oakdale Leader, I'm sure we'll do a little something on that. All right, anyone else? Public hearing is now closed. Back to the council to make a motion on this item. I think we've had a lot of discussion. If there's anything else, go
I
ahead.
motion to approve.
Did you want any changes at this time?
The changes would be, except with all motorized vehicles are allowed to operate, Chief? Is that correct? So no e-bikes in the park, no motorbikes in the park,
Correct.
no vehicles in the park?
Number 4,
Uh-huh.
instead of a period, probably a comma.
Comma?
And then except where all other motorized vehicles are allowed to operate, period.
Okay,
And I'll second that with that change.
okay, first and a second, roll call please.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilmember Kettering,
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes.
Councilmember Patassi, and Mayor Barrios.
Yes, this item passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Before we move on, I would like to say about the 2 public hearings tonight, I would like these both to be on social media from the city page to give out the correct information on the water rate increase, that it's an estimated $3 more per month average. And I would like that to be done. And also, item 10.2 for this is, you know, to ensure the safety of the kids and the people in our community. And I would like those 2 items added to the city website and the city social media page. And then I'm sure the Oakdale Leader is watching from home. I would like to make sure that we get out the correct information on there so that when people see that we do have a water rate increase, that it is a small increase, it's not a huge increase, so that they don't see that and worry, because there's enough things in the world to worry about, except for the $3 or so water rate increase. Again, I don't like to pay more, but I gave you the reasons why.
Yes, we will absolutely
Okay,
do that. And then with
thank
10.2, that'll also be shared over on the Oakdale PD
Okay, I
website.
appreciate that, thank you. Okay, with that, sorry, Jeff. Item 11.1, consider resolution authorizing city manager executing agreement with DR Pipeline for School Avenue, my old stomping grounds. Man, old stomping grounds, all right.
I believe this proposal was before you, when this water line was put in.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Tonight, we would like you to consider a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with DR Pipeline for the School Avenue's water line replacement. $124,350 is the amount, with 2 $12,435 amounts added for a total of $149,220 to be funded from the Water Capital Replacement Fund, 644. A little bit of history here. The city of Oakdale is proposing a water system improvements along the 100 block of School Avenue. The existing 4-inch dead-end water main no longer provides adequate capacity to meet existing operational requirements and has never adequately served these residents by our current standards. I remember going back about 10 years ago and getting calls at people on School at the end of the street for low water pressure. It's a 500-foot section that that does have a performance issue when you get that far down the street, only fed from one way. So the replacement of this undersized main is necessary to improve water delivery, increase system reliability, enhance fire flow capabilities, and support the overall performance and long-term integrity of the city's water distribution system. This is the section of School Avenue that I'm talking about. Every house that you see on here, except for the one on the corner of Olive and School on the bottom, that house was built in 1915, sorry. 1915. The other of the 11 houses that are on that street, most of those were built in 1958. In 1958, they used steel water lines in Oakdale. That is an example of a 4-inch steel water line that is not taken out of this city, but that is exactly, we have that same stuff in the ground. That's called tuberculation. That is restricting that 4-inch flow from what it even was originally. And then the photo on the right, you'll see the water spraying out. That's very common for steel water lines to be doing that and never reach the surface. You'll never know that that water line's leaking like that until the ground has become so saturated that it now surfaces. And sometimes we're super sandy and it'll never come up. So it's also about conserving water, which, by the way, if we conserve water, we also can keep our bill lower. The proposed School Avenue main replacement projects, it's approximately 480 feet of C900 water line will be put in place of the 4-inch steel line. The project also includes new upgrade of the water services. There'll be 11 new poly services put in instead of the old galvanized steel. One fire hydrant, and all the necessary fittings and apparatuses will go in as well. And this will be just a trench patch going back over the trench. So what we're trying to do is do an annual water main replacement of systems like this that are vulnerable, age has got to them. Anytime the pipe's in this condition, the road's also in very bad condition. But we can't afford to go in and fix every road and every pipe at one time. So this is kind of a strategic bite at this project for the future to get this water line replaced. It'll be good for the next 100 years, so that won't be a factor when we go to upgrade the pavement on this street. And we will be looking at sewer as well at a later date. The city issued an informal bid for the project, and we received a total of 11 bids. DR Pipeline was the apparent low bidder, submitting a bid in the amount of $124,350. I thought it'd be interesting to show you all the bids. When you see bids that out of whack, the people at the bottom just didn't really want the job or were scared of something, not sure what made them do that. But the bids are very competitive. It's only $5,000 separating the first and second place bidder. So that did not go how I wanted it to. So anyway, staff recommends that you would approve the resolution authorizing city manager to execute an agreement with DR Pipeline for the School Avenue water main replacement project in the amount of $124,350 and authorizing the construction engineering amount for a total project cost of $149,220 to be funded by the Water Capital Replacement Fund. Any questions?
Yes, go ahead.
What's the sewer line like in that same street?
It's old.
Is it clay or steel?
No, it's probably concrete. And so that's not on our troubled sewer list at this time. So it's not something that we're looking at. It's still performing okay. If we were gonna do a complete road reconstruct, we would take and replace the sewer. It would not be allowed to be left under as that old.
That's my next question. What's the surface like?
Pardon me?
Terrible. Not super
No,
terrible.
the surface needs to be redone
Yeah.
as well. It's on our list of streets that need to be done. Remember, we're trying to take and get a sewer line replacement. We have over 20,000 feet of sewer lines that our guys have to service every month. If they don't, sewer's on the street. And it's because of the age of the infrastructure that we need to take bites out of this and start erasing those and getting them off of that. It frees our staff up to do other things that we need to do instead of out there running these same troublesome lines. And again, going back to the water on School, the people on that street have gone way too long without adequate volume. The pressure will be the same. They will not increase their pressure, but they will increase their volume by dramatically.
You haven't had any trouble with the sewer line in that road, though?
Excuse me?
Haven't had any trouble with the sewer line in that
No,
road?
not on that section.
And I lived there
We
for
have-
quite a while. Yeah, no trouble with the sewer line.
That's why we chose North Fifth last, 2 weeks ago, you were presented that. That was because of the condition of that sewer line. So we don't pick one thing and say that's the only thing wrong with this section of road.
We're just taking bites out of the apple to eventually get it to where it needs to be to Oakdale standards.
And I do love the project that you guys did on all of that, was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, any questions for Mr. Roberts? All right, so yes. Now's the time.
Please
Hold on,
come
excuse
speak
me.
in the
That was
mic.
for council. Any questions from council? Now's the time for public comment. Please come up to the mic for your public comment.
What is the substrate material for the existing sewer line? Is it cast iron?
No, it's probably 3-foot mud joint concrete.
Okay. What's the life expectancy? I was in construction for years, and we did a job in Redwood City Seaport Boulevard replacing a 100-year-old water pipe, and they opted not to replace the sewer pipe at the same time.
Excuse me,
And
sir.
3 years later, we ended up redoing the sewer line.
Excuse me, sir. Now is the time for public comment. So I appreciate you coming to the mic, but it's public comment, and thank you for your comment.
I think it's worthwhile. Water is important.
Thank you for that. All right. Any other public comment? Yeah, I know. I was saying questions to the council, but public comment. Thank you for your patience. Okay, this is an action item. Do you have any other discussion? I know my former people will be really happy. Everybody in that area, be really nice. And how will we, we're gonna put a letter on their door. They're gonna know. How long will the process take? I mean, obviously, the same thing that you always do.
Yeah, just so you know, DR Pipeline has done a few jobs now for the city of Oakdale. Very, very professional. They do not leave anything to chance. They're going to communicate with every resident. They're going to give them notification. They're going to allow them to get their vehicles out in case they need to go somewhere that day. And they will help them traverse to their homes and back. So they're very good with the public and working with them.
Okay, and do you know when this project would start? In the next week, in the next month?
Yes, it will probably be, so they're going to start the sewer on June 12th. And then I'm only expecting that to take them about that week. So I'm expecting the week of June 19th for them to be able to get in there and start the water.
So for the water?
For the water.
Okay. Thank you. All right, this is an action item.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert?
Yes.
Councilmember Patassi?
I'll take commission. Good presentation, yes.
Councilmember Kettering?
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch? Yes. And Mayor Barry?
Yes, this item passes 5-0. Thank you, Colleen. All right, anything else for our city manager at this time?
I'll just add a couple of additional things about the e-bike ordinance. There were some concerns about the bicycles not having lights. Those are all addressed through the California Vehicle Code. If it's dark, then the vehicles are supposed to have reflectors, lights front and back, that sort of stuff. And then if it's an e-motorcycle, of course, they're not supposed to be on the road, but if they have all the safety precautions that any other motorcycle would have, like tail lamps, headlamps, brake lights, turn signals, that sort of stuff, then that would actually be allowed on the roadway. So
I would assume they're sold that way, right? And if
they're
they're taken off, that's a
well,
problem.
no. Most of the e-motorcycles are sold as, it'd be like most dirt bikes are sold as dirt bikes, and they don't have the safety equipment for them to be on the roadway. Gotcha. Now, I'm sure that, I'm just gonna throw out a number there, that 10% of off-road motorcycles are made street worthy. I would venture to guess that electric motorcycles, there'd be about 10% of them that are off-road that are made street worthy, but primarily used for off-road. So all those concerns, they're addressed in the vehicle code. The officers that we have are very professional. They understand the vehicle code. They're out there enforcing it every day, and they're going to still address the issues that were brought up. And that's all I have to add.
Thank you. Any council member have an item before we adjourn?
Just really quick, congratulations to all the graduates, whether it's elementary school, junior high, high school here in Oakdale, those who graduated from college, and wishing them all the best in the future.
Ditto with that. Also, Love Oakdale, starting concert in the park this Friday night. So make sure you attend Dorada Park, and that is a free community event. I want to thank Lisa for taking that over. And with that, the next city council meeting will be held on June 15th, 6:30 p.m. right here in the council chambers. Have a great 2 weeks. Thank you for joining us. Meeting adjourned.